Yep. Hi, I'm Alex. I'm from the documentary, of course. I'm the guy from Andrews, North Carolina.
Yeah, so he's my co-star.
Lucky you showed up, because it was just going to be starring him if you didn't showed up.
Oh, no.
Mike wants me to tell you guys that there is, don't forget to go to get some merch at the Brony table, the Brony doc table. That's
Yeah, it's on the back. When you go in, it's on the far back wall to the right.
It's shared with Purple Tinker's booth.
we have like DVDs and shirts
DVDs,
and swag. And
Signed DVDs.
it's awesome. There you go. Yeah!
Here we go.
All right. What's going on, Nick? Are we ready?
Howdy, howdy, howdy.
There
Just
he
so
is.
you guys know.
Nick, introduce yourself. He's right back there.
Hi, I'm Nick. I'm the assistant editor of the Brony documentary, and I'm also the current editor for the unreleased tapes, which will be released in a couple months while we're working on it. I'd just like to take a moment to thank all of the Kickstarters who helped us with this documentary and with the unreleased tapes. We managed to raise $25,000, which was wonderful. Thank you very much. We are so excited to get this new footage out for you guys. And on that note, I have a trailer for those who haven't seen it.
Right on time.
So
9:15.
who wants to see the trailer?
I lied, I don't have it, sorry.
Okay, I think almost everybody wants to see it.
All right, here we go.
There are
Hang on a
lights,
second, no sound.
lights. Hey, can we kill the lights, maybe? Hello.
No, we won't be able to take care of the lights on this for some reason, I don't know why. I unmuted it here. Something very odd is going on.
I just don't know what went wrong.
Yeah, I think Derby tried to. Well, we can watch this fascinating 2 lines of text for the next hour.
It's over 200 hours of footage starting now.
There's a still.
The fellow in the plaid does not look prepared.
You will see the exciting conclusion to this in about 15
It's actually
minutes.
only 2 minutes of footage, but it's 1 frame per minute, so it's going to take 200 hours.
You know what? It might be assigned to the wrong sound. Quick, guys on the panel, distract him.
So a unicorn, an earth pony, and a Pegasus walk into a bar.
Two
No, I'm
Pegasi
kidding, I
walk
love
into a
this.
bar, the third one ducks. Okay, that wasn't that funny. I'm trying to think of some pony jokes that are clean.
We could. Do you guys want to do some questions? We can do a little Q&A while we're waiting.
Yeah, go ahead and distract him.
Fire away.
Can you tell us a little bit about the genesis of the project and how you chose the people that you followed throughout?
Yeah, that's really interesting actually. So Mike and John and I, when we first came up with it, we just started brainstorming like who would be great in the project, and we really didn't know. So we basically put out a calling, and these people responded. So what I think really is fascinating to me is how they decided they wanted to be part of it, and they like stepped up. And I think these two guys are incredibly brave for wanting to put themselves out there for the whole fandom and basically for the whole world to see. So, do you want to tell us, Alex, like your journey coming to the?
Well, from a starting point, I saw myself as a pretty, average Brony out there, just with nothing, and just there to see the artists and the musicians and all that, just the your basic typical every nighter on EQD and whatnot. And I saw in the nightly roundup this casting call for this documentary, and I'm like, well, I could give it a shot. I've had a lot of crap happen to me, and maybe it's somebody's had it out there or something like that. So I had no idea how many people. I'm like, well, my email's probably gonna get lost in hundreds, and they won't even think twice about mine. But it wasn't. I wrote them a letter about my experiences that have happened, and it wasn't 2 days later before they responded with a, can you tell us more? And I figured, well, then let's just, maybe there is something behind my story. So I just really started to look deep, with what was going on with it. And, there it was. I saw, well, maybe I really do have an interesting story here. And, it's just not about the ponies anymore. And that's what really drove me to, well, now I need to tell the world.
I also saw the ad that they put out on Equestria Daily asking for a military Brony that they could do a story for. And, I've been in the military since January of 2010. And I experienced ponies after I had joined the military, and it was, difficult for me to be able to enjoy it, being in the military culture, because if you like something that's even just a little bit different, and it doesn't matter what it is, they're gonna, they'll find, some reason to make fun of you. But usually, in the military culture, I don't want anyone to think that it's just a whole big, group of bullies. But if they're making fun of you for something, it's a term of endearment, but it's still something I would have rather avoided at the time. It's kind of hard to do that now. So when I got the ad for them to do the story for me, I wrote a letter to, an email to them immediately, because I'm a huge whore for attention. I don't know if you've noticed. And so they said, yeah, we'd love to do the story of you while you're at BronyCon, and you can tell us a bit about what it's like to be in the military. And they invited me to do a Brony luncheon for the Bronies who were in the military. And I said, okay, cool. It'd be cool to see a couple of people there who are in the military and show up. And then I get there, there's like 40 or 50 guys and from all different branches, Army, military, Air Force, which is the branch I'm in, and also Coast Guard and Navy. And and they said, yeah, why don't you come out and have this lunch with us? I'm like, okay, well, how much is that going to cost? Like, no, we're buying for it. I'm like, oh, free food? Count me in. It's a convention. I'm on a budget. And then I got to meet John Delancey, who was working on the project and happened to be there and interviewed me, and I got to have lunch with him, which was amazing. And also Tara Strong showed up while I was getting ready to do the filming. And so I get to, spend some one-on-one time with her too, which was amazing. And then Lauren Faust also showed up. So I got to meet the big three at this luncheon, and that was probably the peak of my life. It's all been downhill since then. That's not true. I actually met her again at the Phoenix Comic-Con, and so she actually invited me to sit in on her panel, which it's on YouTube. So I have proof.
So just to repeat the question for the stream, the question was, how do we end up with the characters that we did in the documentary and how we chose them? And so basically people wrote, we did a casting, we put out a letter and we put out a casting call, and we got all these letters, and we sat around, Lauren, Tara, John, and Mike and I, and we went through all of them and these were the stories that touched us the most and we thought would resonate through the community, and that's how they got chosen. So, and it was, I'm blown away, and I think they're incredibly brave to have done this, because, it takes a lot of character to go, this is who I am, and these are my challenges, and this is my love, and that's, and they're not sarcastic, they're not being ironic, it's, it's truly what they love, with, unabashed and completely vulnerable. So, hey, Nick, how we doing?
We're good. We're
good
set to go.
So we're gonna screen right now the trailer that Nick cut together, right?
Yeah, this is the trailer that I cut together for the unreleased tapes.
So
it's on YouTube, so some of you might have already seen it, but for those who haven't, here we go.
all right, here we go.
I'm Megan Newmans, also known as Inky Notebook, and I'm the Traveling Pony Museum curator. At BronyCon in January, I managed to see all these different artists and these people in the community and hear about what they were doing. And so I had this idea to put together a small artist spotlight, and I just went overboard with it. It just exploded from there. BronyCon is going to be the major debut, and I hope that I don't disappoint people.
My name is Chrissy. I was born in 1983. When I was about 7 years old, I had the coolest babysitter, Lauren Faust. She was so cool. She'd come over and draw for me.
The last time I saw Lauren was 1990. The family moved away and we lost touch. I came to BronyCon so that I could see my childhood babysitter again and see if I could get a moment to say hi to her. Oh my God!
I am Sean Scodolero, or Sifisto. I've always wanted to run a blog style website. It's a lot of work though. You constantly have to be online, you constantly have to be checking your inbox. But at the same time, I love doing it. It's a lot of fun.
I'm JJ and I draw pony art.
This is drawing because I love it.
I get a lot of people asking for commissions.
Lyra, the electric lyre.
When I draw and I see the smile on their faces, I'm so happy.
Hi, I'm Andrew Brockert, and I am Convention Chair at BronyCon Summer 2012. This is a labor of love in some senses. It takes a special kind of crazy to volunteer for a convention.
What is it like to live with the con chair? It generally means that there's a load of beer bottles everywhere.
Between now and tomorrow, a lot could still go wrong. Hope for the best, plan for the worst.
So there you go. I know we haven't cut all of them. We have, what do we have, 3 tonight? It's definitely a work in progress here. So like the ones that we don't have, you guys can feel free to ask questions and we can talk about them even though they're not cut yet. But
Yeah, essentially what we saw in the trailer was, as you saw, there's basically, we had so much footage, like over 200 hours of footage. And we decided, since we have all this footage and we have, our editors available, why don't we try to put it together into something that they might enjoy, And so basically, we ran the Kickstarter so we could hire all the editors, myself included.
Indiegogo.
Huh? What's that?
Indiegogo.
Indiegogo. I'm so sorry. Indiegogo. Yeah.
Yes, if you haven't gone to Indiegogo and spent money there, please do so.
Yeah. There's a lot of really, really great projects, including our own. But anyways, we did raise over $25,000, which was fantastic. It let us do a lot more than we were able to do because a lot of this editing takes a ridiculous amount of time and a lot of work and sometimes a lot of staff and logistics. So that definitely helped towards getting us to be able to make to make the Brony's unreleased tapes as comprehensive as possible. And we're looking to release sometime this fall, hopefully around September, October, November, sort of ish. And I think I lost my train of thought. Excuse me for a moment. Yay.
Well, anyway, so Nick has been doing this essentially like working remotely with Mike, and Mike's working on a TV show, running around the country. So he's been like a hero in this. I mean, it's all fallen on Nick's shoulders here.
No, I'm having a great time. I'm actually really, really enjoying it, and a lot of the footage is really, really hilarious. Some things that didn't get to appear in the documentary that were really, really, really worth being in there, even though we just did not have time for it. And it's a shame, but now that we have this project, we can show everybody, and it's fantastic. It's wonderful.
You want to roll a clip?
Oh yeah. So we actually do have about 3 clips to show you. No, I'm sorry, 2 clips to show you. One of them is already finished. And then this is probably the one that everybody's really excited to see, is the story about Chrissy Fitzgerald, the girl who used to have Lauren Faust as a babysitter. I just finished this maybe 2 weeks ago, and it'll be when it goes up, it'll be available for anybody to download at whatever price you want. Just so you know, you can buy it for $100, you can buy it for $5, you can buy it for free. Totally up to you. So there's that. And here we go.
Hi, my name is Chrissy. I was born in 1983, and when I was about 7 years old, I had the coolest babysitter.
Ah, Chrissy. I know her as Christina. Christina was a little girl that lived across the street from me where I grew up in Maryland, and from time to time I used to babysit her and her sister Farah. Several months ago, somebody sent me a link on my DeviantArt account to a YouTube page of this just beautiful, beautiful young woman claiming that I used to babysit her.
Turns out that my babysitter was Lauren Faust.
It took me a couple minutes to figure out who it was, because she called herself Chrissy, and I remembered her as Christina.
This babysitter I had, she was so cool. She'd come over and draw for me.
I would pencil sketch whatever they asked me for, and in Chrissy and Farrah's case, it was horses.
My mom saved these for over 20 years.
I was a little mortified when she was holding up those drawings, because like any artist worth their salt doesn't like anybody seeing stuff they drew when they were 13.
I really hope this doesn't embarrass her.
That was an amazing surprise.
I came to BronyCon from Brooklyn to see my childhood babysitter. I just got here. I'm trying to figure it out, trying to find Lauren. This is my first convention, so I have no idea what to expect. The day is young, so we'll see. Hopefully I can find her and just give her a hug and say hi.
A respectable show for girls, because saying something is for girls or girly is usually equated with being not worthwhile, of being lame, of being stupid, and I wanted to put a dent in that perception.
As I'm sitting there, I'm listening to Lauren talk about her role in Friendship is Magic and how she was able to personally shape the characters. It was just amazing to be part of all this.
I was so caught up in just kind of the high of the whole convention. It was just like an onslaught of emotion and just sensory perception. It was just crazy.
Are you trying to make me cry again? Are you? Because I will. I love you. Thank you.
I don't even know how much I was able to really think while all of that was happening. I finished my interview and I went, where am I supposed to go now? Somebody tell me where I need to go, and they pointed to the stairs, and all of a sudden Chrissy's just standing right in front of me.
Hi! I came to say hi to you. Oh my god! Oh my god!
I just kind of just melted and just gave her this great big hug.
God, I haven't seen you since you were this big. I know, I was this big, and oh my god!
She brought me some of those old drawings.
Oh, how does it make you feeling?
And she had me sign one. You know, I think I even forgotten that I had done those drawings.
Thank you. I saw your video, and I think I just about had a heart attack. My mother was in tears.
Oh, your mom saw it?
Oh, totally kidding.
We talked about mainly just our past and how our families are.
Are they still in Suburban Park?
My parents are still in the same house, actually.
They're in the same house? So they're
Yeah,
at
so
Ainsworth Court,
So
huh?
I see your house every time I go home.
Oh my god, that's so weird.
You know, it was just one more amazing, slightly surreal moment in a big, amazing, surreal weekend. It was really great to see her again and to connect with her, and it just brought all these memories rushing back of growing up. And you know, she's someone I thought I'd never see again. It never occurred to me that I might see her together. And I have this memory of her as a 5-year-old, and like to just see this beautiful young woman standing in front of me. and to get to talk to her and to catch up with her was just a beautiful experience.
It's probably one of the coolest stories of somebody that I know what ended up becoming of them, and to see somebody that's always wanted something and has always been so talented able to achieve it at this level is just, it's amazing. It's an inspiring story. It's humbling. It's a lot of feelings at once. So in the last episode of season 2, Twilight Sparkle reunited with her old foal sitter, Princess Cadence.
You remember me? Of course I do. How could I forget the filly I love to sit for the most?
Yeah, I feel like a little Twilight Sparkle today. It's a good feeling.
So Nick, why don't you come here and field some questions?
Well,
you did a great job, man. I'm really. It's like
Appreciate
it literally it puts tears in my eyes every time I see that. So, and I've seen it 3 times now. So you did a great job,
Thank
man.
you. Thank you. Appreciate it.
So
There's one.
If anybody has
You got a
any quick
question, there you go.
questions- Yeah, go right ahead.
So I was wondering, I know that there was talks of there being the film and film festivals. Like, is there anything like going on with that?
Well, it wasn't one festival. I don't know that. I know it was submitted to quite a few. What? Oh yeah, I got to repeat the question. So the question is for the live stream. There was talks of the film going to film festivals, and it wasn't the Kansas City Film Festival. And I know it was submitted to many others. I'm not sure the other festivals it got accepted to or not. Let me field that to Nick.
I do know that it went to the Kansas Film Festival, but that's it so far. As far as I can tell, the other festivals haven't been quite planned yet. I knew we were super excited to come here, of course, but beyond that, I can't guarantee anything.
Well, there's talks of other sources of distribution. I don't think we can talk about it yet because it's still in the ether. But there are. It should be coming to you soon.
Pretty much. There is. I did want to announce that the Brony documentary is actually going to be on TV soon. It's going to be featured on Logo as a 44-minute shorter version.
Oh, well,
so
there you go.
we managed to achieve that.
And it's here, and we're showing a film at this festival, which kind of makes this a film festival.
Yeah, I mean, it's wherever there's an audience and it screens.
Absolutely.
Oh, okay, here we go. It's going, okay. It's going to air on TV, and Mike says he's in negotiations with Netflix, and it'll be on iTunes. Etc. He said etc. I don't know what that is, so maybe there's something else he's not telling us.
Oh, it'll just be
Etc.
broadcast.
is French.
Mystery. Mike's always negotiating. So yeah, it could be somewhere else too.
It's going to Fox News. It would, wouldn't it? Oh goodness, yeah. And while we're on the topic of it being aired on Logo, we also have another segment that's going to be included with the Logo airing, and it's going to be included with the unreleased tape since it wasn't put in the original documentary. 2 guys going to Buck.
Are we airing? What are we doing now, Nick?
I'm airing the another segment of the unreleased tapes, which will also be featured in not guaranteed, but possibly being featured in the Logo cut as well.
So can you tell us what are we about to see here?
We're about to see 2 guys who are a couple, James and Callum, who are attending Buck in the UK, and essentially how the Brony fandom has helped them come together and helped them accept who they are and helped other people understand who they are.
I'm James.
I am Callum,
and
we are Bronies.
We met through My Little Pony. Yeah,
Pretty
it was
much, yeah,
completely by chance that we met each other. We were on a train and
Yeah,
we
we
were
met at the
both
station,
going
yeah.
to the same convention. So we sat next to each other on the train and started talking. Since then, we just haven't separated.
Yeah, we've really just connected on that first conversation, really, haven't we?
Yeah.
Feel really inspired from the community for us to actually dress up like this.
The fan put our two characters together. People have really enjoyed speaking to us and taking photographs.
Taking a lot of pictures, yeah.
We haven't encountered any problems together, especially here because everybody's so open-minded, and I think when you're all fans of a show that promote caring about each other, I wouldn't expect any hatred or any backlash from anyone who likes the show.
Everyone's been like really open and like accepted us as soon as we came out as a couple, so it's been great, really.
I think it's a way for people to really be themselves and be accepted that way.
So yeah, essentially the unreleased tapes is going to be a lot of really small stories about, or some big, some small stories about a lot of different characters, including James and Callum, and then of course you've got Andrew Brockert, Megan Yeoman, and tons and tons of people. Yeah, John Joseko and everybody. A lot of the stories are going to be very, 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 very big. Like, we spent a lot of time on Andrew Brockert because there's so much footage. I think we filmed him for over 15 hours, starting from his home all the way to BronyCon. So that's essentially the unreleased tapes in a nutshell.
And then there's the Pirate Party. I don't know if you guys are familiar with the German Pirate Party. They're essentially a lot of bronies in the Pirate Party. And they just got a seat in Parliament, in the German Parliament, so it's pretty amazing. Yeah, and it's like I went to one of their Parliament meetings, and they're like, they're out and out bronies, in the German Parliament. It's really amazing.
So the Germans are ahead of us. When are we going to get a Brony president?
Well, for those of you who haven't heard, in the German parliament, what they have now is if they come to a disagreement where they can't make a decision or they start getting into a fight or it starts becoming a flame war, more or less, they say, stop, pony time. And then they all, I swear to God. And so they will watch an episode of Ponies or listen to some music, and everyone will just take a breather and relax, and that way they can get back to being more sensible. And I think that's amazing.
We actually occasionally did that in the studio as well. I just remember one time we were in the editing bay. It was me and another assistant editor. I think it was Solrak, Carlos.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, he was also editing on the Brony documentary. If
He likes to scream a lot.
Yeah, he does. And of course, Mike was there with us, and eventually we were just so frustrated over this one thing that Mike was just like, okay, we're done, pony time. I literally got paid to watch ponies. It was awesome. It was totally awesome.
So we got any questions? Questions.
Yeah, if anybody has anything they want to know about the unreleased tapes, we're more than welcome to ask.
Kind of an addition on my question. I'm just wondering what it's been like for you two since the documentary's aired, I guess.
Can you guys repeat the question?
All right, he was asking what it was like for Alex and I being internet celebrities because of the documentary.
You're convention celebrities too.
Yeah, well, yeah, I mean, it's an internet-based phenomenon.
Are you
so.
saying people don't recognize you? I know Alex is recognized everywhere.
Well, I mean, he had more than 2 minutes on the film, so
I think all the
that might be a
bronies
factor.
know you, man.
Yeah, I'm not trying to steal the light from you, Mike. Yeah, it's kind of different now that I walk around, a place like this, and people are just staring at me, and they, I may not be a musician or an artist, but they might not recognize me right away. But then I'll say documentary, and they go, oh yeah, that's right. That's where you're from. You're Alex, right? And I'm like, yeah, it's a pleasure to meet you. And it's not. I would like to keep it at that level. I was expecting to come here. Arrive here Friday morning and just a shroud of people running to come hug me or something like that. But fortunately, it's been on a pretty down low, and I've been able to enjoy the con a lot more because of it. Just because people would confront me one at a time about it, and just I find that a more enjoyable experience.
So I have a question for you guys. Have there been people that have shared their stories that were touched by yours, that were similar, that felt like they had a kindred spirit with you?
Absolutely. Just yesterday, when we had the military panel and meetup, there were several other military bronies there, some who were at the convention last year and some who this is their first time convention coming out. And, Yep, there's one right there. And so, they were all sharing their stories with me and saying, how hard it was, at first for them to be bronies, and then eventually, gaining some more acceptance. And now that it's become, less of an internet phenomenon and more of a mainstream thing that more people know about, and it's a little bit more accepted, it's getting a little easier for us. I really liked Alex's story, especially, when he had to deal with people pointing a gun at him. I'm in the military, so that's just part of my job.
You're totally used to it, right?
How's your life changed though? Like since, because you were alone on that base, and now there's military luncheons here at BronyCon. It's wild. And they came up to me and they're like so excited. They're like thanking me. But it touches me. But it's like inclusive for you now, right?
Yeah. Back at my particular base, I'm based at Davis-Monthan Air Force Base in Tucson. I guess I'm the only one from Tucson. That's okay. But I have met a few other airmen in the military who are also bronies. I want to give a shout out to my friend Brian and also my friend Tyler, who are probably watching from home right now. But it's getting better all the time.
So what's going on with the tension in your area, the rednecks? Are they still harassing you? Have they seen the documentary? Has it gone around your town yet that you're in this documentary talking about how terrible they are to you?
Fortunately, no. Just a lot of my close friends have seen it, and I've told them, just keep it here. A lot of footage, I think what we filmed during the documentary, and there was another show that came through. It was called Small Town USA. That's the only footage of my town that exists. So, it would be pretty big to my town knowing that, hey, there's film reels and we're fixing to go on TV and, we're out on the internet as Andrews, North Carolina. But it's been pretty great. And to touch on Lauren's question about my story touching others, absolutely, as a case to this con, my friend Felicia, she saw the documentary and, she was, there she is right there. And she was so excited. This is her first convention.
Howdy, howdy, howdy.
Next.
Any other? Oh, there's someone right there. Is it
Yes.
The media's reaction to the documentary. Do you know anything, Nick?
I do know that not a lot, but a decent number of articles have been written about the documentary being featured at the Kansas Film Festival, which have been generally positive, mostly neutral. There was a really positive article that, if anybody's seen it, the article on TV Guide wasn't specifically about the documentary, but it mentioned the documentary and it mentioned a couple things that the crew at the documentary were trying to do. It's a really, really, really good read, and I actually recommend this article to any non-brony who is curious about our fandom. Aside from that, I can't really recall anything by heart. Generally the thing we've noticed is that a lot of non-bronies really enjoy the movie. It's kind of surprising, and it's actually really, really wonderful. So, and if there's any press, it's generally been positive.
Yeah. It hasn't gone mainstream just yet, so we all get to enjoy being hipsters liking something that's not mainstream yet.
So hey, Nick, how's the documentary changed your life? Because, tell us how you came upon the documentary and, his aspirations and his goals in life now has changed as well. So
goodness.
This has totally been transformative for you as well.
Oh, I can't even imagine. I got the job through a friend who had gone to BronyCon and had talked to my boss, but he was planning to work on it, but he couldn't, so he came to me and said, hey, I know you have video editing experience, so why don't you take care of this? This was my first job in the industry. I have never worked film before, and I jumped on. I was supposed to be only on for 2 weeks, just 2 weeks, and I eventually ended up staying for over 6 months leading up to the end of the documentary because I guess he saw something in what I was able to do, and he said, we could use you for these extra things. We need more people, and you seem to sort of know your stuff, and I'm like, yeah, I kind of edited music videos for anime when I was a little kid. But I don't know. He says, I have natural talent. And I'm like, well, that's really, really, really humbling to know. I'm really happy to know that he appreciates he thinks I'm as good as I am.
I thought it was just because he thought you were cute.
I thought
Interesting point. Nick, what's your nickname? Nick.
My Little Brony.
There we go.
Yeah, we nicknamed him My Little. We're gonna call him Spike, but then we ended up calling him My Little Brony.
Yeah, because they send me on errands all the time. Hey, Nick, could you go grab me a sandwich from Subway? Sure, John, I'll go do that. It's just like, oh my goodness. So I did editing work and then some.
Well, you see, if you went to Jimmy John's instead, you would have gotten a promotion.
I'm sorry?
If you had gone to Jimmy John's, you would have gotten a promotion.
So Scott, same question. How has the Brony doc changed your?
So I came into this documentary by volunteering my time and my equipment at BronyCon. And I think the story goes that Laurent didn't really know what he was getting. He was just this random guy that emailed and said he'd help. And I guess when I showed up, he'd turned his back and I'd unpacked my whole rig and my camera. If you guys saw the guy that was filming on stage last night at Brony Palooza with the big shoulder rig and everything, it looked something like that. And his jaw hit the floor.
Yeah, like we had like these crews that were hired locally in New York, and these guys were like, some of these guys were great camera guys, but they're used to using huge cameras, and we shot them on the DSLRs, which is a completely different animal, and they were like trying to figure this out, and these guys are top camera guys, but it's like they're looking at this thing, and then Scott shows up and he unpacks his rig, he's got the shoulder mount, he's got the mic, he's like, everything is like, he's like a soldier. Turns around, he's like, okay, I'm ready to go, where am I shooting? I'm like, this guy rocks, we gotta keep it. And then we took him to Europe.
Why'd you take that camera apart and put it back together so fast? Because you told me to, sir.
Exactly.
It's his camera. There are many like it, but this one is his.
So the second part of it is, of course, I go back home, travel home with my friends, and I get an email about 2 weeks, 3 weeks later, and these guys said, listen, we looked at your footage from BronyCon, you did a great job, we're filming overseas, we need another cameraman. We need somebody that we know is reliable, we don't want to hire somebody locally because it's kind of like a bit of a gamble. Somebody that already knows the subject, knows what's going on. And I managed to shuffle all my shifts at work to the point where I worked, I think, 41 days straight.
And he's a paramedic, so I mean, those are hard 41 days.
So I basically finished one shift, packed all my stuff up, went to sleep, got like 4 hours sleep, got on a plane, flew to Germany, and unpacked my gear, got ready. These guys came in on a train about 4 hours later. I tried to learn a little bit of German, made some friends. So I got a German friend over here. Anyways, basically we started filming again, and it was an amazing experience. And it changed my life by just being able to meet so many amazing people and see so many stories. The interesting thing about the unreleased tapes, Chrissy, for instance, was a complete fluke. She walked in and she just had this air about her.
And Scott spotted her. I mean, he kept pointing her out. That girl's got a story to tell to me. And I'm like, what, that girl over there, that really pretty girl? She's like, no, she's got a story to tell.
Yeah, and I told my producer, I'm like, because we had like little unit producers. I had a guy named Mike Capetta. I think he's currently filming on Deadliest Catch.
Yeah, he's in like Point Barrel, Alaska or something on a fishing boat, hanging off the side of a boat with a camera.
Yeah. So anyways, we go over and talk to her, and sure enough, there's a story. And same with the couple at Buck. It's like, they were adorable. We were getting like little clips and stuff. And I was like, wait a second, there's a bigger story here. So we started asking more questions, and sure enough, there's this beautiful, amazing story. And everybody has one of those. Every single one of you has a little story to tell. And that was the big thing about the unreleased tapes, is we only could tell so many stories, and then we got this opportunity to tell some more. One of the other guys, Nicholas, was one of the PAs, and he came to us yesterday and he told us that since he left the documentary, he's actually started working full-time at a big production company with huge production budgets and amazing equipment that, I mean, even we don't have right now. So it's changed his life as well. So I think everybody that worked in the documentary, I mean, he was a Brony before, but there's other people in the documentary, like my producer, that wasn't a Brony before he started, but by the time he left BronyCon last year, he definitely was. So
Mike Brokoff just texted me that I think he's saying Mike Capueta, that producer we're talking about, is on Nightline right now.
Oh my.
So things are exploding. It's just crazy.
Yeah.
Okay.
We got a question right here.
Did you actually believe her in the beginning when she actually told you, but yeah, she was my babysitter
We were a little surprised, but when she opened the book that she brought with her with the prints in it, it just like the story was right there.
The look of embarrassment on Lauren Faust's face to look at a drawing she did when she was 12 or 14 years old. She was just like, oh my God, don't show this to anyone.
Priceless.
And now we're showing it to the world.
Yeah, I know. She like literally was like, my ponies have gotten so much better.
I'm so sorry, Lauren. We love you.
But the funny question I kept asking, I go, Lauren, so are you going to backdate this to like 1983 or 4 or whatever? I mean, because she's like, I don't know. What do I do? I'm like, I don't know. I don't even know what she ended up doing.
I think she put today's date.
She did?
Or the day's date, but
yeah. I don't know. What do you do?
We have any other questions?
You can ask general questions about the documentary itself as well. It doesn't have to be unreleased tape stuff.
I can give you Nick's phone number if you want, home address.
We got one right there.
Me.
I have a question about the bonus footage that you're going to be releasing. How long are you expecting that to take after editing?
Well, I mean, you got to look at it. There are going to be a lot of basically short films. So, I mean, Nick's going to go through the material and he's going to, pull out all the really good moments and string together that documentary. So, I mean, it could be 5 minutes, it could be 10, depending on the segment and depending on the footage that we have and depending on, how much footage he needs to tell that story. So he's not really going to, I imagine, know all that until, he's put it together like I don't know how much footage you cut the Chrissy story down from.
That was at least 2 hours of footage.
Right.
Basically brought down to 5 minutes.
So yeah, I mean that and where the work lies is to go through all that footage and just, you make multiple timelines and you just pull out segments. You're like, okay, this is an A moment, this is an A moment, and then you get all these moments. And you're like, okay, and then you got to create a script, and then you got to like string these moments together and create an arc like he did, and he did a great job, by the way. I can't say that enough.
Thank you.
So he's got to do that, what, 5 more times?
More like 10.
10 more. See?
Yeah, and some of the
10 more
segments.
stories.
So send him cookies and brownies. If you live in Anaheim, I'm sure he'd appreciate it. Anything.
I'm actually meeting up.
Words of encouragement on Twitter, perhaps. Olive Branch on Twitter.
Oh, goodness.
Yeah. But as far as a total runtime, are we expecting a feature-length film?
No, absolutely not. We're probably going to go over that, actually. We're probably going to be looking at around an hour, 30 minutes worth of footage, maybe even longer than that. It depends on how. Right now I'm working on Andrew Brockert's and Megan Yeoman's. Theirs is taking a really long time because they have a lot of footage. We followed them everywhere.
That's my fault.
Yeah,
I film and film and film and film because that's just how I work. It's like you get you get a moment and you're like, can I get a better moment? Can I get a better moment? Can I get a better moment? Next thing you know, there's like 20 hours of footage for a 5-minute story.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, and he's got to go through it. So
it's really
thank God he's doing it, not me.
Thanks a lot, Laurent.
And that was another, behind the scenes look at making the documentary with Lauren, just running everywhere with the camera. Just say, oh, can we stop here? I want to get some B-roll, and just all over my room, and over this, over that. I'm just like, we just wrapping it up, and just like, he had to change cards all the time.
We had 5 hours of interview with you, probably sit down.
Yeah, we were.
I mean, like straight 5
hot.
hours of him just talking. Yeah, I mean, Alex is like, can we just release that? Like, wow, that's a lot. I mean,
Alex Tipkin, the documentary.
Okay, so first question right here.
There's nothing.
So-
Hasbro really just kind of said, do your thing, and I met with Hasbro at Comic-Con. I mean, kind of informally, and they were really gracious. They were just like, we like what you're doing, and they just basically patted us on the back, and they were, pretty accepting. And I haven't heard anything negative. I think they like it, right? I mean, everyone I talk to, all the voice actors seem to like the doc. So
As far as I can tell, yeah. Pretty much.
yeah. So we haven't heard anything negative. So that's good.
The next one's in the back at the center.
What was it like personally meeting Lauren Faust? Who wants to take this one?
Oh my goodness.
Oh, well, Nick was blushing. I can say Nick was so nervous when he was around Tara Strong and Lauren Faust were doing this man on the street interview, and I think Nick was like hyperventilating.
Yeah, these are like two really, really smart, brilliant people, and it's just like, my gosh, it feels like their brilliance is radiating off onto me. I don't know what to do. But the first time I met Lauren Faust, actually, the first thought I had was, Oh my goodness, she is so much taller than I am.
It got deeper than that. I think Nick was house sitting for John Delancey at one point.
Oh yeah, not house. Yeah, I house sat for his.
That's how deep he went.
Oh my goodness.
Feeding the dog. What else were you doing?
Yeah, no, that was mostly about it. I just went and took care of Zazie, who is, by the way, an adorable dog. So much fun. But yeah, it was pretty nuts.
Okay, so next question on the left back here.
What are the chances of having all of your footage available from an archival format? Or if not that, what are the chances of, if you know that Brony Doc filmed you, to give you guys an email and get access to that?
Well, it'll be available for like download, right? For whatever you want to pay, right? It's a sliding scale, so that's kind of the archive, right?
No, the question was about just the archive, like all the footage.
Oh, all the footage. That's actually that's a Mike Brokoff question, and
I most likely not.
yeah, I don't know. I'm not really sure. I mean,
For starters, we don't have permission from everybody who we filmed to appear in the documentary. And second of all, I have 4 really massive RAID hard drives totaling 32 gigabytes. I'm sorry, not 32 gigabytes, 32 terabytes.
Terabytes, yeah.
That's a lot of data. It's nuts, and we wouldn't be able to release all of that under any circumstance.
Yeah, it's pretty intense. I mean, that's a massive, and it's traditionally not really done because, I mean, I don't know, I don't know anyone else that puts all their raw footage of their documentary out there, because a lot of that stuff, was never meant to be in a documentary. It's just a lot of footage that was rolled to get that moment.
Yeah,
So
I mean,
there might be like an hour's worth of footage, and there's only 2 minutes that actually made it into the doc, because that's all that, was usable.
Because the rest of it is just us walking around staring at stuff,
Yeah, I mean, I can personally attest to that because, the reason why my stuff got edited down to like 5 minutes is because, the rest of it wasn't particularly exciting, or it could have been told, by anyone else's story.
Well, I think you had some good stuff in there too. I think he had a lot of gold.
Yeah, I did.
You have a lot of gold. We just didn't have enough time. I mean, we're gonna have like a 5-hour doc. I mean, I don't know, 5-hour documentary. It's a little bit hard to.
We could do a 200-hour documentary.
Okay, Nick's editing.
Yeah, that's right.
But
Well, that
Nick's
would
on board. Okay.
That would really be editing.
But from an editing standpoint, it's a lot of people just sitting around going and these long pauses where we're trying to think of a coherent answer, because sometimes I take a long time to figure out what I'm going to say if I know I'm going to be recorded. But and then there was another time when I was like going to the psychology panel, and it's just me sitting there watching the panel, and them sitting 2 rows back filming me, the back of my head for an hour, and you can't use that.
Yeah. Essentially, filming is just you film for as long as possible, and then in that shot, you will have maybe a little bit of footage that actually is worth watching. The rest of it is just boring, So that's essentially what editing is taking out all of the stuff that will not contribute anything to the story, anything that just does not have any content whatsoever, and take the good parts, the parts that actually matter, and put them together.
Especially the GoPros.
All right, now you've had your hand up forever. Are you just filming? No, okay.
No, the guy beside him.
All
The
right.
red hat.
Somebody, red hat.
Big Mac, yay.
Like how y'all were talking about with the shorts, you felt the vibe from the people. Have you met or seen anyone here at this con that struck you like that?
Well, I see a lot of people that I can tell have a story. I mean, I can look at someone and go, yeah, that person's got a story, but I don't really know what that story is unless they want to open up and share it like these guys did. I mean, they wrote letters that were heartbreaking. I mean, you're really removed by what they wrote, and you're like, oh my God, this person's really wants to open their heart, because a lot of people, to be, in a documentary like this, you've really got to go, okay, you've got to acknowledge what's going on, your personal story, and then you got to be willing to want to do this. I mean, to sit up here and do this, it's, you've got to be like emotionally ready for it. It's not everybody's ready for it. I mean, you see all these like reality stars that get on these shows, and they're in it for the fame, and then they reveal too much and they can't take it, and it ends in a kind of a disaster. So you've got to be grounded, and that's what they showed us. But see, look at these guys. A little call to the wife.
Mr. Famous himself.
Should we say hi to his wife?
Yeah. This is my wife, Shannon.
Hi, Shannon. How many bronies are in here saying hello, do you guys think? It's like
we got a couple hundred.
we have a couple hundred.
And I'm also live streaming online. So
Is she watching you?
This is essentially his hi mom moment.
This is amazing.
Good night.
Good night. Kisses. Oh. Yay. Yay.
Yay.
All right. Next, who?
Another
Who else?
question?
Anyone else?
The back.
Did we finish that question?
Did we?
Well, we
Did we answer your question?
He's asked.
He's asking if we've seen people.
Oh, okay, wonderful.
We had, I don't know, Laurel and I had one yesterday that we were talking to. We got a pretty epic story, or no, this morning. This morning,
yeah.
pretty
There's a
amazing.
military Brony that said he wants to get on what's it called, the Mars Project, where you volunteer yourself to basically go live on Mars, and we'll die there. You're just there to restart humanity on a different planet. He said he's willing to do that for the good of humanity. And I was like riveted. I was like, oh my God, that's true. I was like, this is a documentary. I mean, I couldn't get enough of it. He's like, I want to do this for humanity. I was like, that's amazing.
It was a mind-expanding conversation. It's pretty awesome.
I mean, I don't know, wrap your mind around that. Okay, we're going to send you off to Mars tomorrow with like 12 chosen people, and you will live out the rest of your life on Mars in a little pod. I mean, it sounds exciting for like maybe 2 weeks. But I don't know. I mean, you never know what you'll find here.
They'll just be playing League of Legends the entire time up there.
Yeah. So,
or maybe we can send them My Little Pony stuff.
Yeah,
So-
well, I'm sure he's going to bring his entire hard drive
all right, someone from the
collection.
back of the room. Come on, someone from the back. There we go. Piracy is a weird thing, okay? I mean, like, the question is about piracy and how it affected the documentary, since we're a small little independent documentary. Piracy is a big issue, and Hollywood's dealing with it, and it's part of what's happening right now. But, I mean, it happens to the big studios, it happens to the little independent filmmakers, and, on some level, it's heart-wrenching, on another level, it's sort of like flattering that somebody wants to steal your content, that they like it, and they're like, oh my God, I want to share it. But, I mean, it does affect the little filmmaker, because if you're trying to, make a living at it, and you're working on minuscule budgets, and you're trying to pay your rent, and then, you can't because the thing you spent the last, some people put 5, 7, 10 years into projects, and then if they get pirated, they're kind of like, out of cash, and they're going to go work, and they're going to go do some kind of day job and abandon filmmaking. So it hurts it in that way. So, I mean, for me, it's a double-edged sword. I mean, I love to share anything that's creative. I'm like, if somebody likes something that I was a part of and they want to share it, it's cool. But financially, it's kind of art and commerce. It's two worlds that have a hard time coexisting.
Maybe we should just Star Trek it and get rid of currency altogether, and we don't have to worry about
See,
it.
I think that's great. We should live in Equestria where it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, there we go. No, but I mean, DVD sales have been really... No, but DVD sales have been very strong, so we're really happy about that. And piracy, it was there, and we dealt with it as best we could, and every studio is destined to have to deal with it. So we just, try to take it in stride and move forward, and we're doing pretty well for ourselves.
Yeah, I mean, I think a little bit. I think John Delancey's a little bit shocked, because I know on Twitter he was a little bit sharp, but I think he was sort of catching up with the times too, because he was catching up to Twitter. So I mean, just the whole internet culture was something he was coming up to speed with, and I think now he kind of gets it. But it was amazing. Even Lauren Faust didn't even have a Twitter. I mean, it was Tara Strong. We were sitting at BronyCon. I think you were there too, right?
I remember that.
Yeah, and she goes, I'm going to put you on Twitter.
And do a Twitter.
Yeah, and she was like, I don't know. I don't know. Before she could finish her sentence, Tara was like, it's done. And it was like, bing, 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 bing. So, So, I mean, that said, I think, I think it's all good.
Yeah.
But just to put a more positive spin on the subject of piracy, I think that we've been sharing a bit of a success in that reign as well, because it means that it's getting distributed wider. I mean, that's kind of how My Little Pony got started in the first place. Not everybody had the hub. You couldn't get it everywhere. And it got started, and the internet, fandom around it really got started on people putting it up on YouTube. And Hasbro tolerated that as long as it was expanding the fandom, and that's how it happened. And then anytime a DVD sale came out on their part, they had to take it down for a couple of weeks, and they would go back up again. But I know that that's happening right now for Game of Thrones, which I'm a big fan of. Any other Game of Thrones fans out there?
Daenerys Targaryen.
But not everybody has HBO, and so a lot of people had pirated it and they were sharing it, and now people want to go out and buy the DVDs for it because they got so into it.
No, I mean, that's what Purple Tinker's been down there selling it, and she told, and I was just down there. All the people were lining up, they're buying it because it's autographed, and And I know all these people have seen it. They just want to own the DVD, and put it on their shelf. So I mean, it's probably all going to come full circle. And
Yeah.
And you can't download an autograph.
The one thing I hear again and again is somebody that pirated it and said that they're going to go out and buy it because they enjoyed it, and that's that's the goal, right?
Ultimately, the goal was
to have people see it.
Yeah, absolutely. Get the message of what Bronies are, what they stand for, and what they've done for themselves and for those around them. And even if somebody pirated it and they saw that story, then in its own way, it is a success.
And maybe they'll tell somebody else about it who will go and buy it.
So
It's like you said, double-edged sword. It's
all
really
right,
tough.
who else we got back there? Come on, someone, back of the room, corner of the room, front of the room. All right, front of the room.
I have actually, and I think it's a really, 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 basically the idea is that it's a different look into the fandom. It's much more, let's go over the history of the fandom, let's go over how Bronies came to be and what they've done so far. And we need multiple perspectives in order for anybody to really quite understand what the Brony phenomenon is. So absolutely, we welcome, people to make their own documentaries and give their own unique spin, cover things that we weren't able to cover, because it's true, we weren't able to cover everything. So, it's wonderful, it's great.
So Mike just texted me and said that Logo is going to stream for free once it airs. So you can stream it off their website.
Yep, so there's that too. You don't even have to worry about pirating it anymore.
We don't know if it'll stream worldwide, but we know it'll stream in the US. That's just. I think we're running out of time, so we need to.
Oh, okay. There's actually one more video that I'd like to
there's
show.
one more video. Okay.
Yep.
Good,
this
good,
is
good,
not.
good.
Yeah, this is not part of the unreleased tapes.
These are the bloopers, right?
Yeah, this is the bloopers reel. We caught so much footage, and there's a lot of really funny stuff. Plus a little something by Tara
Do you want to
Strong.
apologize to Mike ahead of time since he's watching right now?
Oh yeah, there's a little thing about my boss
Hey, Mike,
in there.
I know you're watching. I think you might be in the blooper reel. So, all
right.
Sorry about that. I haven't seen it. I just heard that you might be in it.
All right, here we go.
You can add in the After Effects explosion in there if you want.
Yes, my laser lasers around.
Photons are finite.
Yes.
So what we need to do is just film you, just walking around doing your thing. So you do whatever you want to do. If you want to go back to your hotel and sleep, we will film you doing that.
I watched him sleep in bed at night. It's not creepy.
Yes.
Dusty Cat saved my career. He is definitely a hero, and he owes me something. No, yeah, I owe him. What? No, I said no. Oh my God, Dusty Cat would hear that.
What? Wait a minute, that's a lot.
Is that your way of thinking me?
Last time I catch your projector.
Yeah, no, I owe Dusty Cat something, definitely.
Oh my God. Here it comes.
Mike's asleep.
Mike, I am so sorry. Wait for it.
By the way, Laser Pony has a really nice house.
Yeah. There's a large lawn.
Could you clap for us?
Sure.
No, right in front of your hand.
Right in front of your
It's
face.
for sync. There you go. Clap.
Just give us one.
Just one,
definitive
just
clap.
one, just one.
There you go. Okay.
Clap again?
I like that one. That was a good one.
You want to clap?
I love to clap. It's so much fun to clap.
Teach the Bronies to clap and clap.
This is a clap. You're gonna get the clap if you keep clapping.
If you could go back in time, what would you say to your 13-year-old self about where your career has taken you?
One day, you will have a song written about your badonkadonk.
Tara Strong is a nice badonkadonk. Tara Strong is a nice badonkadonk. You could learn the words if you really listen. Tara Strong is a nice badonkadonk. Tara Strong is a nice badonkadonk.
Don't you think my badonkadonk needs its own show?
I think Lauren Faust could animate that. I can see many episodes where the badonkadonk leaves you and it causes problems in your life. It just like you wake up one morning and it's gone.
There we go.
Alright. I'm really glad that Tara made a clopping joke because I swear to God, when they first asked that question, could you clap for us? I swear to God, I thought they said clop. I'm like, like on camera? But then we need 2 hours of that. That's what I would watch. I mean the outtakes, not the clopping. Get your minds out of the gutter.
If I see any more, I'll try to put them together for you.
So Nick, were you gonna come out tonight as a clopper?
Excuse me? Did you find that folder on my computer? No.
All right, who else? Those are all clop videos on those hard drives.
Oh, goodness.
There are two kinds, the kinds that admit to it and the kinds that lie about it.
Laurent, do not project onto me.
It's true. I'm a clopper.
That's how it changed his life.
Yes. I thank Nick for my addiction. All right, who else?
I'm going home.
There we go.
I just want to thank whoever actually put the reference to clopping in the song.
Oh, he wants to thank whoever put the reference to clopping in the song.
That would be Mike the Microphone and Amy Keating Rogers.
All right. Well,
And I'll also attribute that to John Delancey not wanting to talk about clopping. So
Okay.
that's how that came about.
Well, unfortunately, our camera lady is telling us that we are out of time, so I want to thank you all for coming out tonight.
Oh, good night. Thank you guys for watching.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, Bronies. We love you for everything that you do.
Hi, I'm Alex. I'm from the documentary, of course. I'm the guy from Andrews, North Carolina.
Yep, so he's my co-star.
Lucky you showed up because it was just going to be starring him if you didn't showed up.
Oh, no.
So- Mike wants me to tell you guys that there is, don't forget to go to get some merch at the Brony table, the Brony dock table. That's
Yeah, it's
where-
on the back. When you go in, it's on the far back wall at the right.
It's shared with Purple Tinker's booth.
We have like DVDs and shirts
DVDs,
and
Blu-rays.
swag. And
Signed
stuff.
DVDs.
It's awesome. There you go.
Here we go.
All right. What's going on, Nick? Are we ready?
Howdy, howdy, howdy.
Okay, there
Just
he
so
is.
you guys know.
Nick, introduce yourself. He's right back there.
Hi, I'm Nick. I'm the assistant editor of the Brony documentary, and I'm also the current editor for the unreleased tapes, which will be released in a couple months while we're working on it. I'd just like to take a moment to thank all of the Kickstarters who helped us with this documentary and with the unreleased tapes. We managed to raise $25,000, which was wonderful. Thank you very much. We are so excited to get this new footage out for you guys. And on that note, I have a trailer for those who haven't seen it.
Right on time.
So, who wants to see the trailer?
I lied, I don't have it, sorry.
Okay, I think almost everybody wants to see it.
All right, here we go.
From all different branches, Army, military, Air Force, which is the branch I'm in, and also Coast Guard and Navy. And and they said, yeah, why don't you come out and have this lunch with us? I'm like, okay, well, how much is that going to cost? Like, oh no, we're buying for it. I'm like, oh, free food? Count me in. It's a convention. I'm on a budget. And then I got to meet John Delancey, who was working on the project and happened to be there and interviewed me, and I got to have lunch with him, which was amazing. And also Tara Strong showed up while I was getting ready to do the filming, and so I get to spend some one-on-one time with her too, which was amazing. And then Lauren Faust also showed up, so I got to meet the big three at this luncheon, and that was probably the peak of my life. It's all been downhill since then. That's not true. I actually met her again at the Phoenix Comic-Con, and so she actually invited me to sit in on her panel, which it's on YouTube, so I have proof.
So just to repeat the question for the stream, the question was, how did we end up with the characters that we did in the documentary and how we chose them? And so basically people wrote, we did a casting, we put out a letter and we put out a casting call, and we got all these letters, and we sat around, Lauren, Tara, John, and Mike and I, and we went through all of them and these were the stories that touched us the most and we thought would resonate through the community, and that's how they got chosen. So, and it was, I'm blown away, and I think they're incredibly brave to have done this, because it takes a lot of character to go, this is who I am, and these are my challenges, and this is my love, and that's, and they're not sarcastic, they're not being ironic, it's, they're lights.
Hang on a second, no
lights.
sound.
Hey, can we kill the lights, maybe? Hello,
No, we won't be able to take care of the lights on this for some reason, I don't know why. Something very odd is going on.
I just don't know what went wrong.
Yeah, I think Derby tried to... Well, we can watch this fascinating 2 lines of text for the next hour.
It's over 200 hours of footage starting now.
There's a still.
The fellow in the plaid does not look prepared.
You will see the exciting conclusion to this in about 15
It's actually
minutes.
only 2 minutes of footage, but it's 1 frame per minute, so it's going to take 200 hours.
You know what? It might be assigned to the wrong sound. Quick, guys on the panel, distract him.
So a unicorn, an earth brony, and a Pegasus walk into a bar.
2
No, I'm
Pegasi
kidding, I don't
walk
know
into
what
a
else.
bar, the 3rd one ducks. Okay, that wasn't that funny.
Before they responded with can you tell us more? And I figured, well, then us as well, maybe there is something behind my story. So I just really started to look deep, with what was going on with it. And there it was. I saw, well, maybe I really do have an interesting story here, and it's just not about the ponies anymore. And that's what really drove me to, well, now I need to tell the world.
I also saw the ad that they put out on Equestria Daily asking for a military brony that they could do a story for. And I've been in the military since January of 2010, and I experienced the ponies after I had joined the military, and it was difficult for me to be able to enjoy it, being in the military culture, because if you like something that's even just a little bit different, and it doesn't matter what it is, they're gonna, they'll find some reason to make fun of you. But usually, in the military culture, I don't want anyone to think that it's just a whole big, group of bullies. But if they're making fun of you for something, it's a term of endearment, but it's still something I would have rather avoided at the time. It's kind of hard to do that now. So when I got the ad for them to do the story for me, I wrote a letter to, an email to them immediately, because I'm a huge whore for attention. I don't know if you've noticed. And so they said, yeah, we'd love to do the story of you while you're at BronyCon, and you can tell us a bit about what it's like to be in the military. And they invited me to do a Brony luncheon for the Bronies who were in the military. And I said, okay, cool. It'd be cool to see a couple of people there who are in the military and show up. And then I get there, there's like 40 or 50 guys. I'm trying to think of some pony jokes that are clean.
We could. Do you guys want to do some questions? We can do a little Q&A while we're waiting.
Yeah, go ahead and distract them.
Fire away.
Can you tell us a little bit about the genesis of the project and how you chose the people that you followed?
Yeah, that's really interesting, actually. So Mike and John and I, when we first came up with it, we just started brainstorming like who would be great in the project. And we really didn't know, so we basically put out a calling, and these people responded. So what I think really is fascinating to me is how they decided they wanted to be part of it, and they like stepped up. And I think these two guys are incredibly brave for wanting to put themselves out there for the whole fandom and basically for the whole world to see. So, do you want to tell us, Alex, like your journey coming to the?
Well, from a starting point, I saw myself as a pretty, average brony out there, just with nothing, and just there to see the artists and the musicians and all that, just your basic typical every nighter on EQD and whatnot. And I saw in the nightly roundup this casting call for this documentary, and I'm like, well, I could give it a shot. I've had a lot of crap happen to me, and maybe it's, somebody's had it out there or something like that. So I had no idea how many people. I'm like, well, my email's probably going to get lost in hundreds, and they won't even, think twice about mine. But it wasn't, I wrote them a letter about my experiences that have happened, and it wasn't 2 days later before